I had a lot of fun doing this last time, so I decided to pick 3 more outdated characters and give them their due respect to the best of my ability. Here are some more hypothetical JP reworks that I made. The first unit I reworked was Aiko. It's crazy to me how she still hasn't gotten an FR or BT yet, given a lot of people in the community like her. So let's go over her roles, which are an enchanter, reviver, and a healer. The first thing with all reworks is, of course, to upgrade her damage. Here is her skill damage right now on the left. Disgraceful. Deplorable. She deserves better. In the right are her skills with my reworks. Obviously, I gave her much higher DPS all around, but you might notice something is a little different with her EX and EX HP command. Her EX, instead of granting the buff double white for 4 turns, I just copied off of Vivi, who works very similarly to Aiko, and made the buff last for 8 turns instead. For her HP command, I massively increased the damage output. Why? Because I wanted it to mirror Vivi's HP command, which was his strongest attack. Lastly, with her revive, you might notice that even though her LD got a big increase, that didn't get a big change. Only one more AoE HP attack than the old one. Because when you think about how many times it triggers when your party faints or gets below 50% health, it will go off 3 times. 4 AoE times 3, I think that's a fine deal personally. Now that the skill reworks are out of the way, let's get to Aiko's hypothetical FR and BT I made her. I made her FR attack the same as her LD, reviving party by 1, granting 3 levels of her overhead, yada yada yada. Let's look at her force conditions. You get a 20% when granting HP to an ally, another 20% whenever you're using a holy ability, and lastly, you get a 20% per ally that is revived from KO or below 50% health. I lowered the percentages of her first 2 conditions given how often her revive gets triggered in a battle, but I also made the 3rd condition not specific to Aiko's resurrection. So other revive units like Celtius, Ishtola, and Aerith can take advantage of it as well. With Aiko's BT, I gave it party cap ups by 30% as usual, but I mirrored it again similarly to Vivi, making it last 8 turns and making the buffs she grants become gold framed. This is to allow her, like Vivi, to also spam her double white HP attack. However, I also added something else special to Aiko's burst. I gave it party immortality. Why the hell did I do that? For someone whose entire shtick is reviving people. Well, because remember, whenever dead units get revived, they get resetted back to their starting state, including any BT effects, calls, or buffs. Those get wiped off. With party not being able to die, I got rid of that annoyance completely, while still being able to enjoy Aiko's resurrection attacks because they don't require the party to actually be KO'd just to be below 50% health. This is no doubt broken, and I was tempted to lower her BT count to 6, but hey, this is a hypothetical rework anyway. It's all for fun, you know? Moving on, next is Edge. Edge has always been a cool character in my eyes. Him, when his LD came out, was putting in work. Entire 6-man areas turned to a cakewalk because of him. Here are his current skills on the left, and there are his rework skills by me to the right. Apart from damage, the other change I made was raising the lock debuff from being 1 turn to 5 turns. That was always a hassle to me. I never understood why his locks were always so short, so I fixed that. For the force, I gave Edge. While it is active, it will have 2 effects. Dual fire and thunder enchant for the party, and a party HP cap up of 50% whenever anyone is counterattacking. The dual enchant will help take advantage of Edge's fire and thunder imperil debuff, and the cap ups are generic enough for other counterattackers to enjoy the bonuses. Let's go over his hypothetical force conditions. 50% whenever Edge evades an attack, a 20% increase each for using both a thunder and fire ability, and lastly, 5% each for fire and thunder damage dealt, including off-turn damage. I kept it pretty simple. I wanted to accentuate on the 3 things Edge was known for: evasion, dual elements, and counterattacking. Let's go to his BT. I'm making it last 6 turns with a usual 30% party cap up, but I added a bit of Yuri's BT in there, lowering all enemies' hit rate by 100%. I purposely left Edge's EX buff alone to still leave room for party vulnerability, but when you activate his burst, that essentially goes away completely. To give even more value to Edge's BT, I made it have an extra 50% cap up for him. While it's active, I wanted it to be an absolute menace for the party, but I also put it on a leash per se by lowering his effect to 6 turns. And finally, the man, the myth, the legend, the undying meme himself, Thancred. What did he do to get this fate, man? I wouldn't wish this scrutiny even on my worst enemy. I need everyone in the chat right now to type and comment justice for Thancred, because this is unjust, it is not right, and I will not stand for it any longer. In all seriousness, let's move on to his roles. Two main things, melee attacker and poison sap. Here are his current skills on the left, and then my reworks for him on the right. Nothing out of the ordinary, just gave his attacks their due diligence as deserved, but the real fun begins with the FR and BT I gave him. For Thancred's FR, people in my Discord told me that he was known for brave shaving and brave sapping, so I figured why not make him do that, but for HP damage as well. I gave him an HP poison. It saps health of the enemy per turn by 100% of Thancred's HP cap, but you guys all know how most of HP poisons are in Opera Omnia, so I also made it scale to force time. For his force conditions, I tried to highlight what he mostly does, brave shaving, debuffing, and now because of the FR effect I gave him, HP poison. 40% for breaking or attacking a broken target, 30% for attacking an enemy inflicted with trick attack, I'll get more into that later, and a 10% increase per HP poison in a turn. I made the third condition not specific to Thancred's poison, so other HP poisons like X Death or Pain can fulfill it too. The hypothetical burst I gave him, I made it last 8 turns with a party 30% cap up as always, but to boost his damage even further, I not only gave him an HP cap up of 50%, but also his own follow-up attack. And not only that, I am making that follow-up attack a linked attack. It will deal 5 HP attacks with all 50% splash, and the way it is triggered will be similar to Leo, where you attack an enemy inflicted with Thancred's trick attack debuff. Not only will Thancred have HP poison thanks to his FR, but his BT will also turn him into a DPS and linked attacker in his own right. For the icing on the cake, I was tempted to give him a 10-turn BT effect, but I have to stop somewhere, you know? So those are my reworks. Are they going to be looked at by anyone developing in the game? Definitely not. But hey, it was fun as hell doing it. Let me know what you guys think of the reworks. How would you rework these characters? What other units do you guys feel are very outdated and should be reworked? Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!